All right, folks, after a long 3-day event, we are here. We are back doing some videos, and today we are talking about one of my all-time favorite UDFA signings by the Rams, Shaun Dolac, the linebacker out of Buffalo. I'm going to get into why I think this is such a big pickup and ultimately what I can expect from somebody like this and what you should expect from somebody like this on the Rams roster. Before we dive into it, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Also, be sure to follow me on all social media at JKBogan, including Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Kick. In addition to that, if you want to check out any of my previous reactions with Alexis during the draft, you can do so all over the channel. Every single pick we reacted to live. So be sure to check that out. But before we get into Shaun Dolac, I think it's important to remember, just because it's a UDFA, just because it's an undrafted rookie free agent, does not mean that player can't be somebody. And when you look at what the Rams have had track record-wise at the linebacker position, I think you got to look at some of the guys, one that's on the roster currently starting, Omar Speights, another that's on the roster currently that played in the Super Bowl, Troy Reeder. But there have been plenty of UDFAs by the Rams in this organization recently that have had contributions, have had starts, have been really good on special teams. So keep that in mind. Guys like Corey Littleton, guys like Christian Roseboom, Jake Hummel, Elias Neal, and Cameron Lynch. Of course, my buddy Cam. So that's something to keep in mind. The Rams don't look at this position as just a throwaway, and just because you're a UDFA, this is probably, and I don't have the numbers here, of course, compared to all the other teams, but this is probably one of the top teams in the league at giving undrafted rookie free agents a shot to make the roster. There's always undrafted rookie free agents that make the roster. Last year, we saw Jalen McCullough, we saw Elias Neal, we saw Omar Speights. So there's always opportunities. We also saw Charles Woods and, of course, Josh Wallace. So you can never rule out UDFAs. And then in addition to that, guys that go on the practice squad and get called up, that's the thing, right? So there's plenty of opportunities to come by. There's a current guy on the roster right now, was not drafted, in Ronnie Rivers. So that's just the way it is, right? As far as the linebacker room as it stands right now, because Shaun Dolac does play linebacker currently looks like Omar Speights, Chris Paul Jr., Nate Landman, Troy Reeder, Elias Neal, Tony Fields II, and now you can throw Shaun Dolac into the mix. Here's what I'm going to say about Dolac. Dolac and Chris Paul Jr. can perfectly replace Christian Roseboom and Jake Hummel, who departed in free agency. Chris Paul Jr. is a 5th-round pick. I had a 1st-round grade on. Shaun Dolac, I had a top 100 grade on, and he went undrafted. And I have a lot of reasons as to why. So if you think that he's not good enough, and that's why he went undrafted, you'll understand after this video. But Dolac has the potential to not only make the 53, and I believe he is a penciled-in 53-man roster guy, but he has a potential to be a great rotational linebacker and even a potential starter. I had him as my 8th overall linebacker in the draft, the top 90 prospect in his own right. He had elite production at Buffalo. 2024, he tallied the FBS leading and Buffalo record-breaking 168 tackles on the season, 6 sacks, and FBS leading 5 interceptions, including a pick 6. He played 4th most snaps among all linebackers in the FBS, was the highest grade linebacker overall and covered grade-wise, according to PFF. FBS leading 76 defensive stops, and he had a targeted passer rating of 56.5 and committed 0 penalties. He was named the consensus All-American, which is the first ever in Buffalo history. That says a lot because Khalil Mack went there. Mack Defensive Player of the Year. But why was he undrafted? Well, I think when you look 6'1", 225, despite being the 373rd overall linebacker in RAS history dating back to 1987, which, in case you didn't know, is really good, he had a 30-inch arm length. He was undersized, Some people feel like he's going to get swallowed up by blocks, and he does tend to do that at times. He's not going to disengage as well as a bigger linebacker. He was also a walk-on, but the big reason why he went undrafted is that he was not invited to the Combine. He did not participate in the Senior Bowl or the Shrine Bowl since he wasn't invited to those either. You look at the pro day, he ran a 4.5 440. He had 25 on the bench, 35.5 inch vertical, a 10-1 on the broad jump. I mean, the guy has, the measurables, the testing is there. But again, he didn't have the exposure of the Senior Bowl and the Shrine Bowl. And in the past, I think, he would have. But there's such a focus now on Power 4 schools, and they now allow non-seniors to compete. And I think it hurt Dolac's exposure. And I'll just say this in defense to Dolac, I think it's insane that an All-American wasn't invited to the Senior Bowl or Shrine Bowl. I would say that's a shame on those two. I like them both a lot, but to me, the Senior Bowl, the Shrine Bowl, those things are in place to allow guys like this to get center stage and be able to play and compete and showcase their abilities amongst their top tier peers. So if we're not doing that, then I feel like we're really messing up there. So I think the lack of exposure for Dolac led to his unfortunate fate of being undrafted, but it works out for the Rams. They're getting a technically sound tackler. He had 5% missed tackle rate this past season. He doesn't dive. He doesn't lunge. He always seems to be in great position when I watch the tape. He's a really smart football player. I had a feeling the Rams would be all over him. It's why I had him in 2 of the 3 mock drafts. He has excellent vision and run support, reads plays quickly, diagnoses quickly. The angles he takes are better than that of some that wouldn't have gotten drafted. You would expect a guy that didn't get drafted takes bad angles, doesn't have great vision, is more of a reactive instead of an instinctive player. That's not Dolac. He gets his guys lined up pre-snap. He was the heart and soul of the Buffalo defense. He's capable of wearing the green dot. He has such great instincts, and he has shown the ability to jump routes with his FBS leading interception total. Truly, on all 3 phases, this guy is a linebacker in all 3 phases. Blitzing, run defending, and of course in coverage. I had quite a decent amount of slot reps that I watched him have, and I was really impressed with his ability to play essentially slot corner. Now, he's a linebacker through and through, but he's capable of dropping in his zone as well as a linebacker. The work ethic really fits the Rams as well. He just feels like a we not me type of guy. Great story. They always talk about it. Sean McVay mentions it. You want to see guys that have been through adversity and how they faced it, and guys that have overcome it, and that are culture guys, and that also, their presence is felt on the field, and they're hardworking, and that is Shaun Dolac. I mean, this is a walk-on guy to become an All-American, nonstop, relentless motor. He's going to be a mainstay at the very least on special teams. He has the potential to be a special teams ace for the Rams, and he reminds me the most of Matt Milano of the Buffalo Bills, who also, he was a transfer from Ball State, but Matt Milano is a really good player in this league. He has been, I believe he was an all-pro, but he's been a Pro Bowler. I just think when I think of all 3 phases aspect of like a linebacker, turnover generator, that is Matt Milano. He's always had a nose for finding the football. So what is Shaun Dolac's role? I think it's a fair question. What is his role in the Rams? We just watched Omar Speights, who was an undrafted rookie free agent out of LSU, former Oregon State transfer. He just became the starter. He just became the starter and replaced Ernest Jones. So what is Shaun Dolac's role? What can we expect? Well, I think he makes the 53. He's an undersized linebacker that can do it all. That's pretty much what the Rams have been kind of holding on. They do have a lot of undersized guys they're okay with. People will soon realize that the idea of his level of competition is ridiculous. Khalil Mack went top 5 out of Buffalo. I don't know how we're still doing this. Tyree Jackson was drafted out of Buffalo. There are other guys that have been drafted out of Buffalo. I don't really understand the whole holdup with being like coming out of Buffalo. The Mac is fine. It's not the SEC, but there's still some really good talent there. Dolac's roadmap, in my opinion, though, I think for the Rams, it figures to start out as a breakout player in preseason, similar to what Omar Speights did, and then followed by that, a special teams ace. I think that's where he's going to have to make his money. Special teams, Cameron Lynch did it, Corey Littleton did it. There are guys that have done it and have really made it known. Darren Bates is somebody I forgot to mention, also played with Cameron Lynch. He was somebody that became an ace on special teams. That is how you get on the 53. You have to show your worth on special teams. Those are all three phases of the game. Offense, defense, special teams. If you can play two of those phases, you're good. All three phases, you're not going to play all likelihood. But if you play defense, you still need to be a special teamer. If you play offense and you're not starting, you need to be able to have some value on special teams. And that is something that I believe Shaun Dolac is going to be a stellar player at. Now, with that said, that's the roadmap. That's where it starts. Starts with showing up when your number's called on the defensive side during preseason, playing a banger type of 2 games, it looks like 3 games, what have you, and then special teams showing your worth, making the 53. I would say in this first and second year, they slow played it with Christian Roseboom. They really slow played it with Jake Hummel. They slow played it with Troy Reeder. So that is a big thing, first and foremost. And then you get on the field defensively. I think the floor for Shaun Dolac is a rotational linebacker. I think he's a chess piece for Shula, will be a special teams ace. The ceiling, he ends up being one of the steals in UDFA, like Omar Speights, and carves out a reliable starting role. Now, they drafted Chris Paul Jr. They have Omar Speights. There's not a ton of playing time to go around. Plus, they use the star. They use nickel a lot. They're in nickel quite a bit. So it's not a traditional 3-4 defense. That does hurt his ability to get on the field this year, but you could use Shaun Dolac in some of those sub packages. He showed his worth being able to cover in the slot. He showed his worth as a blitzer. He showed his worth as a run defender. Do not sleep on this guy. I 100% believe he is going to make the 53-man roster as long as he stays healthy, and I am so excited that the Rams ended up adding him. This is somebody that, again, was a top 90 prospect for me, and I had a 3rd-round grade on him. I think he slipped through the cracks simply being the system's flawed, and he wasn't brought onto the Senior Bowl or the Shrine Bowl. He didn't get to be in the Combine. I don't get it, but I think it's time to start inviting guys like this. I don't really know what more Shaun Dolac would have had to do to be invited to a Combine, to be invited to a Senior Bowl, to be invited to a Shrine Bowl. But one thing I do know is that he's going to make a lot of teams pay for passing him up. So the Rams got an absolute steal. This is an A+ UDFA signing, and I cannot wait to see him work his way onto this 53-man roster. We'll see what ends up happening. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think about Shaun Dolac, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care, folks. Later. All right, guys, so once again, just want to let you guys know that you can check out my new side project, The Lounge. I interview athletes, musicians, actors, actresses, all the 9. So definitely check it out over on the Lounge with Jake Ellenbogen channel. Be sure to subscribe and enjoy. In case you guys haven't noticed, I do have a Discord channel for my community on this channel. And if you want to be a part of it, it is free. The link is in the description below. You can sign up. This is basically a 24/7 Rams channel, and we are almost at 1,100 members. So if you want to be a part of it, just hit the link in the description below.